Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new. My name is Mercedes. In today's video, I have polishes to share with you for Hella Hand. I always get that tongue tied. Show you a place where you gon' wanna move your feet. In today's video, I have polishes to share with you all from Hella Handmade Creations for the month of September. If you haven't heard of what Hella Handmade Creations is, it's a monthly collab between indie makers. They come together every month and they create limited edition items. Nail polish, which I know a lot of us know about, handmade items like cuticle oils, waxes, soaps, trinkets. There's like cat toys, I think cat toys, unless that's polish pickup, but anything handmade pretty much. Now, like polish pickup, if you heard of polish pickup, these makers create items based on a theme, but instead of a common theme like polish pickup, Hella Handmade Creations, each of the makers have their own specific theme that they run through for at least like 4 to 5 months, maybe 5 to 6 months. I think it's between 4 to 6 months. So at the end of it, if you decide to purchase your item or your polish from this maker for, you know, the ongoing months, it's like you're gonna have a mini collection. So I know one time there was a Beauty and the Beast theme. So each of those polishes are based off of Beauty and the Beast. Now, Hella Handmade Creations is a pre-order, so the shop opens the 14th of every month and they close the 21st. Once shop closes, your items will be shipped out and you'll receive them in about 2 to 3 weeks. Actually, I think it's like 3 to 4 weeks. Some of the items are capped, meaning that there's only a certain amount that are created, and once they sell out, that is it. You can no longer get your hands on them anymore. Hella Handmade Creations does a I always forget the name. It's not like overpour, but they have options where polishes that haven't sold out from previous months or the previous month will be available on a specific section on Hella Handmade Creations. They also do like mini shops and stuff. One month they celebrated Pride, so you had your core Hella Handmade Creations polishes, and then you had a specific small little shop, little section on the website that had Pride related polishes. So for this month, that little shop is going to be Halloween related. All right, I have a lot to share as always, so let's get into the swatch. We are starting off with 1422 designs, and this is Let's Get Wild, priced at $13, and there's a cap of 100. And welcome to the channel 1422. They are continuing their endangered species series. I believe it is just all land animals. This one is inspired by the African wild dog, and it's described as having a caramel tan base full of bright pink, orange, gold, green, aurora shimmer, and holographic flakies. The formula was fantastic. I built it up in 2 coats. I'm going to say 2 to 3 coats for everybody, depending on your nail length and your preference. But I thought 2 coats on my shorter nails was absolutely stunning. We're getting a heaping amount of that pink orange shift right in the middle of the nail, and I love it. This is chock full of holographic flakies. They are large and in charge, but they don't take away from the aurora shimmer that we're seeing. And then, you know, all of these components, it's not taking away from that beautiful tan base. I feel like this is the indie version of that typical like mustard yellow, burnt orange that we usually see for the fall, but in like a cream formula, you know? But this is the indie version where we're getting the beautiful shimmer, the hollow flakies in here. I really love this one on my skin tone. I can see myself wearing this in the fall months for sure. Pictured are 2 coats of 1422 designs, Let's Get Wild, with a glossy top coat. 1422 Designs is also bringing us their sticky base coat. This is called Stuck On You. It's priced at $7 and there's a cap of 50 bottles. I am all for a sticky base coat. I wanted to show you guys this swatch. I haven't tried it with a manicure yet, but that is my goal, just to test it out. But it applies clear, so you see, I don't know if the bottle is green or if it's tinted green. I think it's just the bottle. I think it's the bottle. I'm not really sure, honestly. I'm not sure. But when I put the base coat on my nails, it's obviously not tinted at all. What I usually do, which you guys are seeing me do here, is just I paint the base coat along the free edge of my nail. I feel like it just helps with the longevity of my manicures. I usually only honestly get like 2-3 days out of my manicures, maybe like 3-4 days, depending on how busy I am at work and just, you know, all sorts of factors and stuff. But that's something that I've always done and I'll continue to do. And especially with this being a sticky base coat, I feel like it should help the longevity of my nails, of my nail polish, last even longer. But we'll see. I'm definitely going to use this base coat moving forward when I do my own manicures. So 1422 Designs, base coat stuck on you. Next up is BCB Lacquers, and this is You Must First Know What Makes You Weak, priced at $13.50, and there's a cap of 300 bottles. BCB Lacquers is continuing their fairy tale series inspired by Ezra Scarlet. This one's described as a red jelly with red, orange, gold, multi-chrome micro flakies. This one had a fantastic formula. I built it up in 2 coats. I think long or short nails, honestly, I think 2 coats is going to be fine. The formula wasn't too thin or it wasn't too thick. It was easy to work with. I didn't have any issues with like cuticle staining. Usually I can tell if a polish is going to stain based on the cleanup, the amount of work that I have to do to clean up my nails or the skin, my cuticle, everything around there. But I didn't have issues with cleanup, so I don't think it's going to cause any staining. But this one was glorious. Now, I want to, like, the micro flakies are blending in with the base. We can definitely see some of the orange gleaming through, and it's giving us texture vibes, but not texture in a sense where it's like bumpy and lumpy. Texture in a sense where it's like giving us depth and dimension, you know what I mean? So it's not just like one flat color. Like the micro flakies are definitely causing that, like causing a nice illumination, if that makes sense. I love it. I feel like it's multi-dimensional and very glass-like looking for sure. Pictured are 2 coats of BCB Lacquers. You Must First Know What Makes You Weak with the glossy top coats. BCB Lacquers is bringing us a Halloween duo. There's going to be 2 polishes. This is the first one. They're not sold separately, so you do have to get them together. It is priced at $27 for both polish, and it is inspired by Halloween Town. This one is Mortals See, Mortals Do, and it's a solar polish, but I'm going to touch more on the solar part later. This one shifts yellow, so when you're indoors, it's like this yellow color that you're seeing now to a more softer pink in indirect or outdoor lighting. It has pink, orange, gold glass flakes, and purple, red, blue multi-chrome flakies. Now, to me, I feel like this leans more of a mustard, like a brighter mustard. I mean, I guess I can see the bright yellow, but I think because we have so many components in here, right, all of the flakies, I feel like to me, this is leaning mustard. And this is leaning definitely fall. Like this is like giving me fall vibes for sure. The formula was fantastic. Built it up in 2 coats. I think long or short nails, 2 coats should be fine for you. Now, this is it in lighting. Now, I could not get it to shift into a darker state. This is the darkest that I could get it to shift to. So this nice, soft, peachy pink sort of shade. I know in the description on the HHC website, it does say that it can shift to a darker maroon shade. And I know on some swatches, they were able to get it to shift to a darker, more pink maroon state. For me, this peachy color that you're seeing was the darkest that I can get it. Maybe it could have been the sun that day. Maybe it was, I don't know, the UV light wasn't UVing. I don't know. Either way, it does shift, but not as intensely as some of the other swatchers got it to change. But, you know, I think in some of the photos, some swatchers were also getting it to shift to that peachier shade that you're seeing on me right here. Regardless, I loved both of them. I loved both of the shifts in either state. I was honestly more obsessed with it in its indoor state. I felt like it just screamed more fall for me, but I really did enjoy this polish, and I think it's really unique. Pictured are 2 coats of BCB Lacquers, Mortals See, Mortals Do with a glossy top coat. This is the second polish in the Halloween duo. This is called Bubble Bubble Toil and Trouble. That's cute. This one is also a solar polish, and this one shifts to a gray. So gray when indoors to a purple when you're outdoors. It has purple, blue, green glass flakes and purple, blue, green multi-chrome flakies. This one I was able to get to transition. You'll see that shortly. This one had a fantastic formula. I'm going to say 2 to 3 coats for everybody. This one, because the flakies are so large and in charge, you want to work in thin coats and make sure that you're letting your coats dry in between. I am so used to doing like thick coats and being like two and done. And I know I always say this, and I'm trying to get better at doing thin coats, but it's hard. It's hard. But work in thin coats with this one and you're going to get a great payoff. Now, this is it in the light. So if you were outdoors, it turns into this beautiful, like dark eggplant purple shade. It is glorious. I feel like I love solar polishes more than I love thermal polishes. I just think it's so cool. I think it's so cool. And, you know, you don't have to worry about, like, if you have short nails, you don't have to worry about, like, if you have a thermal polish, you know, worrying that it might not transition on you. But with solar polishes, you just go out in the sun or any sort of, like, you know, window that has any light coming through, and you're going to get a shift and a change in polish color. I really enjoyed the flakies in this polish, more so in the indoor lighting, that nice lighter lavender gray sort of shade, because they really do pop against that lighter shade. I love how they're large and in charge because they're the main stars of the show, but we still see the base color peeking through, which I always appreciate. Pictured our two colors. Pictured our two coats of BCB Lacquers, Bubble Bubble, Toil and Trouble, with a glossy top coat. BCB Lacquers is also bringing us a cuticle oil, and this is called Fierce, priced at $8, and there's a cap of 150. This is a 6 ml click pen. You have jojoba oil in here, coconut oil, sunflower, avocado, almond oil, tea tree oil, and this is a skin safe fragrance. Now this is described as having scents of bergamot, tarragon leaves, basil, green leaves, jasmine, hyacinth, oak moss. It smells so good. BCB Lacquers, if you haven't tried their cuticle oils, especially the scented ones, you have to. I'm telling you, they, like BCB Lacquers, Brittany, she is like the queen of scents. You give her a scent that you want to smell, and it is legit going to smell like that, with like no artificialness. It is going to smell like, if like, say like, I don't know, I know she created a Mountain Dew one way back in the day. It literally smelled like Mountain Dew, and it had that fizzy scent too. I'm pretty sure it was Mountain Dew. I'm pretty sure. But it had that fizzy scent, and it smelled exactly like it. So if you haven't tried them, you have to. And the fact that they do an amazing job with moisturizing and, you know, all the amazing ingredients in here. Now, I always apply way more than I need to. So keep in mind, a little bit does go a long way. I just always apply extra. One, because I'm always swatching, and two, I need it anyways. But with this one specifically, it definitely has like a light floral scent, because I can smell the jasmine and I smell like the green leaves and the hyacinth, but it also has like the slightest bit of spice in there and some like masculine vibes. I know I'm not the greatest at describing scents, but it really does smell good, and it's not, this one's not overbearing. It's a very refreshing scent for sure. So if you haven't tried them out, have to try BCB Lacquers cuticle oil. You're not going to regret it, especially if you love scents. So this one is in Fierce. We have Cracked Polish. They are joining HHC for the very first time, and this is very, very exciting. I was so happy when I got the email about Cracked Polish joining HHC. This one is called For the Love of Indie. It's priced at $13, and there'll be a cap of 200 bottles. Their series is going to be inspired by all things indie polish, with going down the rabbit hole, which we all know. It is an endless rabbit hole when it comes to indie polishes. But this one's described as a dark blurple polish that has a soft magnetic blurple pigment, purple, pink aqua shifting flakes, pink glitters, blue shimmers, and a beautiful purple shift. Now, I did not realize that this had any sort of magnetic pigment, so I'm not going to be showing it off that way. I am going to be showing it off just built up on its own, but I thought it was glorious on its own. I'm going to suggest 2 to 3 coats for everybody. This polish was so beautiful. The glimmer, the shimmer, the sparkliness, it is all there. Now we're getting the pink at extreme angles, that pink shift. We're seeing a lot of the aqua in the center of the nails. The purple shift is a very dark purple, so we get those mysterious vibes as well. And the flakies that are in here, the shifting flakies, they are so reflective, not like reflective glitter, but just very mirror-like. So this is very fun, very sparkly, very bold. Definitely appropriate for the fall and the winter. If you want a pop of color, because it's on the darker end, I feel like it'll fit in perfectly fine with the rest of your dark shades. But there's still that brightness to it that if you have like a gloomy day and you want to brighten up the mood on a cold, snowy day, this one would be perfect. Pictured are 3 coats of cracked polish for the love of indie with a glossy top coat. For the Halloween shop, Cracked Polish is bringing us Clotted. This is priced at $13 and there's a cap of $200. This was inspired by Queen of the Hearts from Alice in Wonderland's quote, "Off with her head." Clotted is a deep, warm red polish that has gold and copper shifting flakes and red shimmers. I feel like the description is just like spot on. The inspiration is spot on. I love myself a good red polish. This leans more on the like red brown brick side, which I'm not mad at. I ended up doing 3 coats just to sort of even things out and really plump up that base color. The red shimmers do not get lost in this base, which I very much appreciate. But you're definitely seeing some sparkliness right here. These copper shifting flakies, the gold shifting flakies are beautiful. Again, they're not getting lost with a similar base coat that we're working with, which I always appreciate. I see some shifts of like an olive green. Do you guys see that? Like really at extreme angles. I see some shifts of olive green. We're definitely getting some gold shifts as well. The flakies in here, it's the perfect amount that distribute across the nail. I am loving that I'm seeing a lot of different components in cracked polishes. It gets me very excited to see what we're going to have in store next. But I can see that Monique the Maker is just venturing out and adding all of these different things in polishes, which I know that a lot of people are going to love as well. She does an amazing job when it comes to like cream polishes, but I am loving the exploration and all the different finishes that we're seeing, especially for this month in HHC. Pictured are 3 coats of cracked polish, Clotted, with a glossy top coat. And just going back, because this has a lot of depth and texture, not that it's going to dry down textured on the nail, it's just textured in a sense where we have a lot going on. You're going to want to use a glitter smoother and then a glossy top coat over it, just to plump things out, or just use like a really thick glossy top coat because it's going to dry down flat. Here we have Cuticula, and they are continuing their Dreamlight Valley series. This is inspired by Belle. It is called Beauty. Priced at $13 and there is no cap. This one is described as a white curly base with a background of blue shifting glass flakes and added blue and bronze metallic flakies. I ended up going in for 3 coats just to really build up that nice, beautiful background. We ended up getting lots and lots of fun flakies on the nail. This is a white base, but because we have so much going on, I feel like it tints that base a little bit to a more light lavender / like very light baby blue. This one has a beautiful glow to it. I think it's those glass flakies that we're seeing, the blue glass flakies. But do you see how it just illuminates from within? I'm going to suggest 2 to 3. No, I'm going to suggest 3 coats. I'm sorry. 3 coats for everybody, whether you have short or long nails. The thing that I like about Cuticula is that I know a lot of the polishes take about 3 coats for you to build up, but we don't lose any of the components. And the formula is just so easy to work with that you don't really notice that 3rd coat, in a sense where it's like, sometimes with thicker polishes or very busy polishes that may need a 3rd coat, you may be hesitant to do that 3rd coat because there's already so much going on and you're worried about like dry time and clumpiness and all of that. 3rd coats for Cuticula, they always dry well in between. I never have any issues with thickness or peeling off because there's just too much polish. So I always think it's worth it for the third coat for Cuticula. But I really enjoyed this one. I love the glow from within, and I love how the base is just slightly tinted. Pictured are 3 coats of Cuticula Beauty with a glossy top coat. Next up we have Dam Polish, and they are continuing their bucket list destinations series, and this is Northern Lights. Priced at $13.50, and there's a cap of 200 bottles. This one has a gray base with a tinge of purple and green aqua, purple, pink shifting shimmer. This was a beautiful polish as well. I know I sound like a broken record. The formula was fantastic. I ended up going in for a third coat just because I wanted to deepen that base a little bit more. So I'm going to suggest 3 coats for everybody. And on that third coat, we get a beautiful dark gray base with a heaping amount of shimmer. We're seeing lots of green and lots of aqua. The purple just slightly, just very slightly, we're seeing that purple at extreme angles. This almost looks like magnetic, but it's not magnetic. And I feel like I'm looking at the Northern Lights here because it looks magnetized, as if you were looking at the Northern Lights in the sky. But this is just pure shimmer that's just shifting along the nail bed. It is beautiful. This is going to be wonderful for the winter time if you're a seasonal polish wearer. It's going to dry down flat, so make sure you use a glossy top coat. You want everything plump and juicy. I like everything plump and juicy on my nails. Pictured are 3 coats of Dam Polish, Northern Lights with a glossy top coat. Here we have Garden Path Lacquers, and this is Villain Era, priced at $13.50, and there is no cap. And they are continuing their Bridgerton Dresses series. This is inspired by Crusade's Blood Red Revenge dress. This was such an interesting polish. Now, I saw it in the bottle, and I was like, okay, another beautiful red polish. And then as I started painting, I was like, ooh, wait a minute. Hold on, I didn't even read you guys the description. This is a blood red jelly filled with red holographic micro glitter and matte red hex glitters in various sizes. Now what you're seeing is 2 coats on me, but I'm going to suggest 2 to 3 for everybody, depending on how you polish and depending on length of the nails. Because this is a jelly and it's filled with lots of different components, your level of opacity may look different depending on your methods and nail length. But this is different. This is like a red lacy dress on the nails. The hex glitters are just, I'm like speechless like looking at this. It's just, I don't know. I was expecting just a sparkly red polish, but I think it's just because we have this jelly base that is filled with our holographic micro glitter and those hex glitters that come in different sizes. I feel like I'm always in awe when makers can get like a clear base or, any type of base and fill it with components and reach, the level that we're seeing right now. It is just so interesting. It gives you so many different angles and depths and different dimensions, and it's like you're looking at something endless on the nails. And it's very bright, very large and in charge, not large and in charge, but very bright and very like, I'm bold, I'm in charge, you need to listen to me vibes. Very beautiful. You're gonna want to use a glitter smoother and then a glossy top coat because of all the glitter, so you can get a nice smooth, plump, juicy finish. Pictured are 2 coats of Garden Path Lacquers Villain Era with a glossy top coat. Next up we have Jen&Berries, and this is Remember the Can't, priced at $13, and there's a cap of 450 bottles. They are continuing The Expanse series. This was inspired by the ice hauling ship, the Canterbury. It has a velvet linear holographic base and a soft gray and glowy blue-purple shifty shimmer. I'm going to recommend 2 to 3 coats for everybody, depending on your nail length and how you polish. But this is definitely glowy, definitely icy vibes. You can see the holographic pigments just wanting to shine and peek out through. Unfortunately, I didn't have the sun when I was swatching, so I couldn't show it off that way, but we can already see the hints of rainbows along the nails. This is going to be a beautiful polish for the winter time if you're a seasonal polish wearer. I feel like we're getting some shifts of brown in there, right? Do you see that? That's not my nail bed. That's definitely a more darker shift. but we definitely see blue. We get a little glimpses of purple as well. Star of the show is definitely that gray glowy base, and then of course the linear holographic. Another beautiful polish. Pictured are 2 coats of Jen&Berries. Remember the cans with the glossy top coats. Next up is Owl Lacquer, and this is their Dangerous, but I love their swagger. Priced at $12, and there is no cap. Owl Lacquer is continuing their Bob's Burger series, and this is inspired by a quote from Tina. It's described as a blackened burgundy filled with pink, gold, green, teal shifting multi-chrome flakies. On the first coat, we're seeing a lot of that burgundy berry base. On the second coat, we're definitely building up the depth and the darkness of the base, and we're getting a heaping amount of all those multi-chrome flakies. Now you can leave it here, but I wanted a deeper base, so I went in for a third coat. You're definitely going to want to use a glitter smoother and then a glossy top coat because we have a lot of multi-chrome flakies in here. And you're definitely going to want to wait in between coats to make sure everything dries, so you're not getting any dragging or, pulling or squishiness in areas you don't want it. I love how we can see all of the colors of the multi-chrome flakies. We're getting green, we're getting pink and gold. I see a little bit of blue too, even though that's not listed. It could be green. Actually, there's teal. So there we go. We're getting blue-green, which is teal. This is such a glorious polish. I feel like this is something where if I'm tired of wearing vampy colors in the winter and I want to stay within my seasonal polishes, but just want something a little more fun, I feel like this is going to be the polish for me for that, just because of the multi-chrome flakies, where all the different colors. It still has a berry base, but it's nice and squishy and it's fun. I enjoyed this one. Pictured are 3 coats of Owl Lacquer. They're Dangerous, but I love their swagger with a glossy top coat. Next up we have Polish, and this is Sailor Mercury, priced at $14, and there is no cap, and they are continuing their Sailor Moon series. And this is inspired by Sailor Mercury. It's described as a cool taupe gray packed with fine teal aqua blue shimmer. Now, if you don't know Polish, they do glowy shimmers amazingly well, and this one is definitely among one of those beauties. I ended up doing 3 coats just because I wanted a deeper base and just to really build up a more opaque look. I'm going to suggest 3 coats for everybody, long and short nails. So we can see here on the third coat, we're definitely seeing that taupey gray base, and then we're getting a heaping amount of that teal aqua blue shimmer. Mostly, I feel like I'm seeing a lot of green, and then just a little bit of that teal along the perimeters. I love the overcast, that dark gray taupey look at extreme angles. Now that's not the shift or anything, that's not like the shifty shimmer, that's just our base that's peeking through. So even though we have a heaping amount of shimmer, our base isn't getting lost. Really enjoyed working with this polish. To me, this is gonna sound so crazy, but to me this is more of a neutral sort of polish for me, just because I think of that gray taupey base, but it has like that kick of shimmer in there. So I would wear this if I'm feeling like I need some sort of palette cleanser. This is me, guys, okay? This is me. If I need some sort of palette cleanser, but still want a little something in there because of that glowy shimmer. But nonetheless, I enjoyed working with this polish. Pictured are 3 coats of Polish Sailor Mercury with a glossy top coat. Penelope Luz is bringing us Amaterasu. This is priced at $13, and there's a cap of 200 bottles, and they are continuing their Goddesses of Mythology. This one is described as a white curly base with gold shimmer flakies. Another stunning neutral polish. We get a heaping amount of that gold shimmer, and the flakies are not too dense and heavily packed in there. They're, sparsely spaced out, but I feel like they give the polish a nice vintage vibe, and especially goes with the theme of goddesses, right? I did this in 2 coats. I think 2 to 3 coats will work best for everybody. We really do get a nice canvas on the nails. Like everything is just clean and smooth. I think if you go in for a 3rd coat, you're going to get more of a whiter sort of base. This, because of that gold shimmer in here, to me, I feel like it leans a little more on the ashier gray side, but still definitely like white on the more, how can I say this, beige end. but still doesn't take away from the crispness of the polish too, if that makes any sense. But this one was very pretty. This would be fantastic as a pedicure as well. This is 2 coats of Penelope Luz Amatoruso with a glossy top coat. And then we're moving on to the second offering from Penelope Luz. This is Sun Goddess. This is priced at $12 and it's a cap of 200. I paired this over the first polish. This one is described as having blue flakes with gold hollow glitters. So it just vamped up that polish even more. It made it more fun, more party-like, as opposed to, you know, your more neutral, very dainty sort of effect. I also wanted to show it off just solo on its own. You can definitely build it up. I did it in 2 coats, so you know, if you want something fun, maybe not anything too crazy on the nails, maybe you can't wear tons of polish or different colors at work, this is something that you can hopefully wear as an alternate. But you can definitely see the blue flakies popping through. I feel like this is going to be great over lighter shades. If you decide to pair it over something darker, then those gold glitters and blue flakies will definitely pop even more. So here we have 1 coat over Amaterasu, if I'm saying that right, and then we have it 2 coats on its own. Next up we have Owl Lacquer, and this is Peter Pan's Shadow, priced at $12.50, and there is no cap. This is inspired, well, they are continuing their Peter Pan series, and it's inspired by Peter Pan's Shadow. It's a gray scattered hollow with hollow flakies. So on the first coat, we get pretty good coverage, and honestly, like the cleanup, especially with this being a darker polish, no staining, no difficulty or anything like that. Second coat, we reach full opacity, so I'm going to suggest 2 coats for everybody. I really don't see you needing a 3rd coat. It's not necessary. 2 coats and you're going to be done. Now for this, just having such the most like simple explanation, a gray scattered hollow with hollow flakies, there's something about this that's just special. I don't know if it's because I really like gray and I like hollow flakies, and you put them together and we get this. It could just be the formula was so easy and smooth to work with. But it's just such a bold statement on the nails without being too much. You get a nice dark slate, you get some sparkle and some twinkle in there. There's no fussing over the formula or the amount of coats or anything like that. You get 2 easy coats and you get this perfect canvas on your nails. Really, really pretty. Enjoyed this one as well. This month is hard, guys. HAC this month has some good ones, especially with it being Halloween month too. Pictured are 2 coats of Owl Lacquer, Peter Pan's Shadow with a glossy top coat. Next up we have Victorian Varnish, and this is vulcanized, priced at $13.50, and there's a cap of 200. They are continuing their Apothecary Peculiarities series, and this was inspired by Wizarding Apothecary. It has a gray base with bronze, green, gold, multichromatic shimmer, an iridescent purple to green large particle shimmer, scattered hollow, UCC flakies, and black reflective glitters. Holy man, that's so much, but everything works. And it applies so smoothly. Look at that reflective glitter just bouncing off of the nail. I know I didn't capture this as clearly, but like just look at it through this lens. So pretty. Now I know I did 3 coats for this, and honestly that 3rd coat, I just kind of wanted to see what it would do, if it would change things up, and it really didn't do much. So we're just going to leave it at 2 to 3 coats, just depending on preference and stuff. But with all the components and everything that is going on in this polish, I was so surprised that this was not as chunky as I thought it was going to be. Now, sometimes when you have reflective glitter in polishes, they can definitely thicken up a polish. No issues with that here. The scattered hollow, we're getting glimpses of that along the nail. I didn't swatch this in daylight, so I couldn't show it off in the sun, but you can definitely see the rainbows under there. The large particle shimmer, it's almost looking like flakies on the nail because it's so large and in charge. The UCC flakies, everything just blends in so well. And this is giving me definitely like a cross between like antique and pruggly vibes, or even honestly like royalty. We're getting glimpses of a darker sort of olivey green, maybe even like a gray for shiftiness. Really fun polish. I feel like this is definitely a beautiful one for the fall for sure. Pictured are three coats of Victorian Varnish, vulcanized with a glossy top coat. Next up, we have Victorian Varnish, and they are bringing us a Halloween duo priced at $26, and there's a cap of 100. And this is inspired by Disney's Ichabod Crane and Mr. Toad. This one is Tally Ho, and this one is described as having a deep, bright base that's orange-red copper, that has an orange-red copper magnetic line. And when magnetized, reveals this beautiful aurora shimmer, which is a gold, green, aqua, teal. So I'm using a bar magnet just because, I don't know, I feel like trying different things than just leaving my nail under the magnet. But look at that strong coppery pigment, and look what the magnet does. It just centralizes it right into the middle, and it gives way to that beautiful green gold that we're looking at right now. We see a little bit of aqua too, right towards the center, but how glorious is that? I'm really enjoying the bar magnet for magnetizing. I know I usually do the magnet under the nail, and I was very like hardcore, like that is going to be my way to do it from now on, which honestly I think it's just going to depend on my mood. But I think for swatching purposes I may go back and forth and probably end up doing the bar magnet, but I feel like this just required a little bit of effort just to get that beautiful line. I'm loving how strong and reactive it is. This is like Halloween, guys. This is Halloween. Like, it's green and it's orange and it's just so mysterious. Beautiful formula, easy to work with. Pictured are two coats of Victorian Varnish Tally Ho with a glossy top coat. The second polish in the Halloween duo is Legend or Lore, and this is described as a flaky bomb with a clear base and 3 different UCC flakies and a host of ghost flakies. Now, I didn't show this off with a base or a cream underneath. I just built it up on its own, and I thoroughly enjoyed it that way. I think this would look wonderful over a dark polish. If you wanted more iridescent vibes, then pairing it over a lighter color would work too. I use that icing method, or I tried to use the icing method like the Polished Mage describes. But I thought this built up pretty well on its own. I think it's a fun polish. If you wanted to wear it on its own, you definitely could. On the full hand swatch, it looks much better than on the solo finger swatch. We get pretty good coverage on the nail bed. We get lots of different colors. We're seeing pink, we're seeing green, yellow. We see a little bit of purple and aqua and teal, lots of different fun colors. And I love how they are metallic looking because it gives off a nice like twinkle on the nail as well. Pictured are 3 coats of Victorian Varnish, Legend or Lore with a glossy top coat. And the last beautiful polish that we are showing off is from Zombie Claw. This is the Boogie Frights, priced at $13.50, and there's a cap of 100. They're continuing their Powerpuff Girls series. This is inspired by the episode Boogie Frights. This is a bright neon red pink base with electric blue shimmer. Zombie Claw knows how to do the electric blue shimmer. I'm telling you, I've said this before, but they just throw it in their polishes and everything looks fantastic. You can see that this had an amazing formula. I built it up in 2 coats. I think long or short nails, 2 coats is going to be fine for you. We can see the glow from within. This is bright and hot and in charge. This actually, if you don't like spooky Halloween, imagine this as your base and then pairing it with like cute little white ghosts over it. Whether you can draw that on, whether you stamp it on, I think it would look so cute. The blue shimmer does not get lost in this wonderful, glorious base. It almost is coming off as a more violet purple shimmer. I feel like we have a sprinkling of white in there, but I think it's just from that super neon red pink base. Beautiful polish. Pictured are 2 coats of Zombie Claw Boogie Frights with a glossy top coat. All right, guys. I have favorites. I have 4. I have a lot. I feel like the favorites that I always pick always look the same for the most part. I mean, I have a vibe. I have something that I really like. I have a theme, right? I have favorites. I have polishes that I lean towards. First one being from Garden Path Lacquers. This is Villain Era. Guys, it's red and glowy and gorgeous and just, I'm telling you, and I've said this in my other videos, Garden Path Lacquers has been killing it these past few months. Like, with all of the polishes. Absolutely gorgeous. The glow, the intense, the formula. This is going to be perfect for the fall months, perfect leading into the holidays as well, Valentine's Day too. Rogue Lacquer, and this is Peter's Shadow. I love how dark and intense and mysterious this is, but you can still see those hollow flakies in here, and I love like a dark gray base. I love gray in general. I haven't really found a gray polish that I really enjoyed recently. I found one, Rogue Lacquer. The formula was awesome. Like, you guys saw the swatches. Cracked polish, and this is clotted. Again, I love my deep vampy colors. This one was gorgeous. It built up beautifully. I can see myself taking this into the fall and into the winter months as well. It's just like one of your beautiful classic vampy shades. Not classic in a sense where like it's already like been there, done that, but just classic where it's just like that gorgeous red brown shade. It's just like this essential red brown shade with your glimmer and sparkle from the flakies, just that hint of like shiftiness that you have in there. I love it, and I love the name. I mean, I love a spooky Halloween. I'm talking about like not even spooky, like scary. This is stunning. And my last favorite is from BCB Lacquers, and this is Mortals See, Mortals Do. Even though I couldn't really get this to transition in the sun as intensely as I thought it was going to be, I still love it for the color that it is here. Now the transition is really light. Originally I thought it was going to be a little bit darker, and the maker did too. And let me tell you, I tried everything under the sun to try to get this transition to a brighter, deeper color, and it just wasn't working. And I was like, I'm doing something wrong. I have to be doing something wrong. But no, we figured out that it was just a really lighter transition than anticipated. Honestly, I don't even care if it transitions. I wanted to stay this color. It's this gorgeous, like mustard leaning, still bright, but mustard leaning. This is gonna be wonderful for the month of November. All right, everybody, that is all that I have for you today. Let me know what you are planning on wish listing, what your must-haves are. This is just a small portion of what's going to be available on Hella Handmade Creations, so there's a lot more. Thank you again, and I'll see you in my next one.